Hi friends, my name is Rick Cobb and I am the worship arts minister at Church at Wayuka in Buckhead, in the Atlanta area. One of the things that our church is trying to be intentional about is partnering, collaborating with those ensembles, groups that would be interested in using our beautiful building on the corner of Peachtree and Wayuka Road. And so I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to have a conversation this afternoon with Phillip Allen. So Phillip is the guest conductor of the Atlanta Community Symphony Orchestra. And they actually will be giving a concert this Sunday at 4 p.m. So we're just so excited to have them, and I know that the beginning and the development of this relationship is just such a gift. I really appreciate your time this afternoon. One of the questions that I love to ask my musician friends, artists, is, would you happen to know, when was that moment, Phillip, when you decided or you knew, I want to dedicate the rest of my life to music?
That's a great question. My mind floods back to when my grandmother discovered that I could play by ear when I was 4.5 years old, and that sort of launched that. Both sets of grandparents were very musical, and that sort of thing. And then later, as I started learning music, learning piano, learning the organ, to have the opportunity to play at church, I felt that I could do this. And at that time, it was all about my life in church music. And then I had the opportunity to major in music at Georgia State. Love my school, great school. And started off as a piano performance major under Dr. William Musellis, who later went to teach at Juilliard. So a little high cotton there. And started off minoring in percussion and orchestration. And then I switched to, when he left, I switched to organ performance and minored in composition and orchestral conducting. And so long about sometime, I don't remember the year, I got an invitation to start playing auxiliary keyboards for roadshow productions that would come through the Fox. So that was kind of fun, and I got the theater bug. And then not too long after that, a local theater company doing original material on stage, suddenly on opening night, the day of opening night, lost their pianist. And so a friend of a friend called me up, and so I went in, and it wasn't a perfect performance, but the gentleman who wrote the lyrics and the script, we became a partnership, not quite Rodgers and Hammerstein, but we went on to work together for shows that played the Kennedy Center, played off-Broadway at Beverly Hills Playhouse. One show, Crisscross, toured Spain. It was the anniversary of Christopher Columbus. And then later on, we developed a production on the childhood life of Martin Luther King Jr. Fascinating story. I would encourage everyone to, what his formative years were about. And that production was called The Boy King, which then got noticed by Channel 2, and it was produced as an annual production that would air every January nationally, and I was grateful to win a Peabody Award for that. So my career has gone both parallel tracks, the church world and the secular world, and lots of offshoot possibility, but opportunities from both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am absolutely fascinated with the history of the Atlanta Community Symphony Orchestra. Rich heritage and background.
Definitely.
Share with us just a little bit of the orchestra's history and what makes it unique.
Great question. We'll have to go all the way back to 1915 when the Atlanta Music Club was formed for talented people in the city. Atlanta back in those days, very provincial, very, and so the people who were interested in music, 1915, they formed and went through various permutations of women's ensemble, and different, and slowly built, and over the years saw the need for an orchestra. And the Atlanta Symphony started off as Atlanta Symphony Youth Orchestra. Their charter dates back to 1945, chartered as an orchestra, later to be renamed the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. It is from its inception, from what I understand, they were destined to be a professional symphony orchestra, rivaling hopefully New York Philharmonic, Philadelphia Orchestra, Cleveland Philharmonic, Chicago, which were those are the biggies in those days. And so that was 1945. Then not long, but 10-ish years later, they realized, well, Atlanta needs a top-notch orchestra for volunteer music, the very best amateur volunteer musicians that play at a professional level, but might be doctors, lawyers, whatever.
Sure.
They do their professions. And so the ACSO, the Atlanta Community Symphony Orchestra, the idea was birthed around 1957, the year I was born, but they were chartered in 1958, and so they are the second longest running symphony orchestra in Atlanta. Now, the Atlanta Music Club is a fascinating organization because from them springboard also the Atlanta Opera, the Atlanta Ballet, just a whole wonderful variety of organizations. So the ACSO has had a number of phenomenal conductors over the years. I'm very privileged to work with them, an incredible group of people. I think Juan Ramirez, who is currently violinist in the Atlanta Symphony, was a longtime conductor of theirs. Wonderful man, and his son David, I think, is even playing cello with us coming up Sunday. So what makes them unique is I feel the rich history behind their longevity. I think also, there's a lot of other wonderful orchestras that I think have springboarded off of this idea.
Sure.
And there's tons of them. Everybody knows who they are. But the ACSO, I think, is sort of a sister organization to the Atlanta Symphony, being on the volunteer amateur side of the ASO, the mighty ASO, as a professional group. Rick, something else that came to mind as I was talking about this history is a memory that is fresh in my family was the 1962 Orly plane crash. Now, to set the stage for some of our folks that don't understand, this is it's early 60s. These people were the most wealthy, arts-savvy, arts, music, culture of Atlanta. Very well connected politically. They chartered this plane over to explore all over Europe, concert halls, museums, exhibits. How can we best bring culture to Atlanta, and look, we're better to go than to Europe, and they did all this. And so they were reveling in what they had done and seen, and then I forget the month, but in 1962, the plane that was taking off from Orly, France, crashed. And my mother's art teacher, my mom and dad went to Bass High School, Little 5 Points, Atlanta. My mother's beloved art teacher was on that plane. And I have to keep from getting emotional because she gets very emotional. And this really devastated. These were the visionaries in the arts and music. And from that got national and international attention, which focused a spotlight on the grieving people of Atlanta. We have to do something. And so money started pouring in. Mayor Hartsfield, as in Hartsfield Jackson Airport, had to go over to escort the bodies back. And what that must have been horrific. But from that came the Woodruff Arts Center for the ASO and drama and theater and later the High Museum next door, which this also got at some point the attention of Robert Shaw, and a connection developed. And so from that, in fact, the Rising Phoenix that is still on display at the Woodruff Art Center is dedicated to their memory. It was just my mother to describe how devastating, because the city was much smaller then.
That's right.
And everybody really knew everybody. And so anyway, that propelled Atlanta. Sadly, but that propelled on the arts side. Really propelled, got a lot of attention, and the fact that the city wanted this and had this vision, so to help to keep their memory alive, they propelled. We're beneficiaries of all this today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, wanted to share that.
Yeah, I think it's important that we know that, and again, just what have we come from, and what a powerful story.
So what a so devastating. But
out of tragedy,
yes,
can come
a
door to just,
and the symbol of Atlanta, it ties in the symbol of Atlanta, the phoenix rising from the ashes, which comes back to post-Civil War days, rising from the Atlanta being burned, and then the whole phoenix of the arts now being resurrected as a phoenix rising from the ashes of devastation, and it's that Atlanta never say die, never say die spirit.
That's right. Yeah. And look at us now. Right.
Yeah, it's incredible. But let me make a quick correction. It wasn't Mayor Hartfield. It was Mayor Ivan Allen, who was mayor at that time, and my last name being Allen. There's been many times I can remember as a kid my dad being asked by various people, "Are you related to the mayor?" No, but it was, that ties in. I want to make that a quick correction. Yeah, that story.
So Phillip, share with us how you got connected with the ACSO.
Interesting story. I had known about them for a number of years. I was contacted this past August. They had a conductor that was already lined up for their first concert, and it was his idea for the theme of Evening of French Fantasy, and something occurred that he was suddenly had to back out. And so I'm a member, as an orchestral conductor of many, many years of conducting all over Nashville, whatever, fill in the blank. I'm a member of the International Conductors Guild. There's a bunch of us conductors,
Sure.
So one of the members found my name and lived in Atlanta, and he reached out, and would you be available, be interested? Sure. So one thing led to another, and I piggybacked on the theme that was already established, and two of the pieces, the Berlioz Roman Carnival Overture and the Bizet's L'Orlésienne suites, and the particular movements that were already programmed, and I got to program the rest of the concert, which was fine. I love French music. I mean, hello, Debussy and Clair de Lune and
Ravel,
and I just love it. And so we started rehearsing in September. Rehearse once a week, 2 hours a week. Wonderful group of musicians, very dedicated. They take direction well, and which is good for a conductor. And they also remember, which is also really good for a lot of orchestras. You have to hammer them, but they play. I feel in their playing their passion to do a good job and to bring the music to life. Because you and I both know, notes on a page is not music. It's sort of a abstract representation of, we are the ones that turn it into music. And that sort of thing. And we've just had a wonderful time putting the program together. Like any orchestra, ups and downs here and there, but they have risen to the challenge and had a really great, phenomenal dress rehearsal Monday night, and in your beautiful sanctuary, which is an acoustic space. Y'all need to come to this concert. But it's going to be really, really great. So I think that more than answered your question.
So you mentioned that Sunday's concert is an evening of French fantasy, which just basically means it's just compositions by French composers,
Correct. That's right.
if you
That's
will.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question for you. An audience member, listeners, what would you want them to walk away with after leaving that experience of music?
Really great question. Being in the International Conductors Guild, there's a lot of discussion these days about the art form of symphony orchestras. The audience for our type of art is dwindling, and not just here in the United States, but
So true.
in Europe. And COVID made it worse. So first of all, we want the audience to enjoy themselves, get lost in the music, and just relax. It's not, we as conductors, there's been a lot of discussion. It's not a stuffy, we don't want you to feel restricted. If you want to clap, clap. If it's in between movements, we want you to enjoy what you hear.
To be engaged.
And be engaged in the music. I will say, we're starting off with the Roman Carnival Overture, then we're segueing to Funeral March of a Marionette, which a lot of people will be very familiar with, and then we're going to end the first half with the meditation from Thais, which is Melt in Your Mouth, beautiful violin solo. Second half, we'll start off with the Bizet L'Arsenal suites of 6 of the 8 movements of that. Then we're segueing into the Clair de Lune, which is just so beautiful. And then, not to ignore modern French composers, we're going to end up with selections from Les Mis. And that seems to be, a lot of people get excited about that, both musicians and non-musicians, that they're familiar. And it's understandable because it's something more current.
Sure.
So, but we want folks to have a good time. Please tell all your friends. It is a free concert. I forgot to mention that. It is a free concert. They are chartered not to sell tickets, but they'll take donations. Of course, they'll take donations to keep surviving. But free parking, free concert. But just to come. You don't have to be a musician to enjoy this beautiful music. Just come and let it wash over you. It just. In our hustle and bustle society, we rarely do we have a chance just to, and a symphony orchestra concert is a good time to just enjoy what's happening.
Yeah.
So, I would say do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
That's great. It's been a fascinating conversation. If some of our viewers are interested in more information, where do they go?
That's a great question. And first of all, let me thank you for this opportunity and thank everybody for watching. The Atlanta Community Symphony Orchestra's website is acsorch.org.
So this Sunday evening, November the 5th at 4 p.m., the Atlanta Community Symphony Orchestra will have an evening of French music, and then some other upcoming events that we're very excited about. November the 26th, the Georgia Festival Chorus will be with us. December the 17th, that morning at 11 o'clock, Church at Wayuka, our own choir and smaller orchestra, will be giving our concert. And then that evening of the 17th at 6 p.m., the Trey Clegg Singers will actually be in concert, and we are really just so overwhelmed at just the opportunities and the relationships that are developing here at Church at Wayuka.